G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza, and in this video we're going to be looking at a few key things to keep in mind when drawing emotions on characters. Now whether you're animating or creating still life art, comics or paintings, when you're drawing a human figure and they're emoting, you really need to create something that people can believe and invest in. Otherwise it feels fake and they're not going to care about it at all. Whether it be a comedic piece where their facial expression is the punchline, or it'd be a very serious sort of piece where you want someone to emotionally invest in that scene. You can't do it unless the actors, which are the characters that you're creating, are convincing, and we do that through drawing the emotions. Now there's a few key things I wanted to go through first. Now when we draw emotions, these are the things that we picture that have the most effect on emotion and that on the conveying of emotion. And that's true that our eyes and our eyebrows and our mouth are the key factors that go into play on displaying an emotion, whether I'm really stern or angry or really happy or surprised. They are key factors. But if I go across here, this is an area of effect sort of charty thingy thing that I drew, and I just wanted to demonstrate that it's more than just those three key things, the eyes, the eyebrows and the mouth, that are affected when conveying emotion. The skin, wrinkles in certain expressions, it could be the eyelids have a lot to do with the eyes. It's not just the eyes, but there could be squints or contortioning happening up there. Between the nose often gets really scrunched up, particularly under here and up here with anger, and we'll have a look at that later. The mouth all around here is really like flexible and rubbery. Okay, so we don't touch the things on solid bone, which happen to be the jaw and the cheekbones. So you can see that here, they're untouched. And just above the eyebrows. Nothing really happens immediately above the eyebrows. It's more up here that things start to get affected. Okay, but that's something to keep in mind, because drawing emotion is more than just changing where the eyebrows and eyes and mouth are. It's about warping the face as to where things will be affected. So I've got a few examples that I'm going to create here. I've got 6 expressions: content, happy, angry, sad, seriously, and cunning. I put seriously because I couldn't think of another way to put it. I suppose you put like skeptical, but I don't know. Seriously seems to work. So I've got a cartoony and a fairly comic / realistic version of each, and I'll zoom into, let's say, 650. And I'm going to, in red, first I'm going to draw the principal communicators of emotion. So I'm going to go through on all of these things and draw the eyebrows, the eyes, and the mouth. Okay, then I'm going to go through after and change the way that it's affected the skin and all that stuff. So what we've got here is content. Now this is probably one of the least extreme expressions that you can draw. Now this cartoon character on the left is going to be a bit of fun to do these expressions with, because they're always going to be a little bit more out there. But with content, it's still pretty casual. Now you can see I've drawn the eyes as circles. That's to convey where the eyeballs are. So where we draw inside that area, we don't want to go outside or take up all of that area, because we never show the whole eyeball. It's different on this character because the eyes are often very open. Anyways, content, we don't want our eyebrows too extreme. Everything's pretty straightforward. The mouth is just kind of at a slight up angle. You want him smiling, but it's nothing too extreme. His face won't warp that much. Probably looking up, thinking, "Oh, what a beautiful day," So that's the beginning of our content face with the character over there on the left. Now on the right here, I'll explain what I mean when I draw the eyes. There's a lot more covering up the eyeballs on a skull, right? So our eyeballs are, much bigger than we can actually see on our face. So I'm going to cover up, most of it. It'll still be a fairly open eye, but that's the shape of the eye with the skin covering it. And so same thing, looking up, I'm going to draw both eyes, and this is a fairly unextreme expression. I'm not very good at words today, but I don't know what else you'd use. Yeah. Now, he's always going to look a little bit sleepy with the construction work behind there, but if I hide that, you can see that it's actually not that sleepy looking. I'll just move that eye up a bit. Okay, but when it's showing the construction work, it does look a bit like that. I'll give him a little bit of a smile, nothing too major. Draw in that bottom lip. Now, if I hide the bottom construction line, you can see that it's starting to show that that's a pretty easy to read expression. That's content. Okay, so we're going to go across here. What's our next one? We have happy. Okay, so this is where things start to kick in a little bit more. So I want to show a bit more of an extreme happy expression. So to do this, I'm going to open up the top part of the eye, and I'm going to get the bottom part of the eyelid to kind of come up and cover part of the eye like that. I'm going to do that for both eyes. Now I use the eyelids as kind of like a garnish. You don't want to go too crazy unless you're going extreme, but in general, like if you're happy, bringing up the bottom eyelid tends to just kind of flourish the expression a bit. So with a smile, let's get a bit of a toothy grin here. We'll make it even wider, make it a nice wide grin. Now, if you want me to go into detail about how I draw mouths and eyes and blah, 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 I have other tutorials on that, so feel free to check them out. Okay. So let's have him looking at the camera. And the eyebrows are really stretched up there. So going across to the more realistic comic-ish example. Similar to the other one, the top half of the eyes are going to be drawn up, but the bottom half are going to be covered a bit by the bottom eyelid. And with the eye looking directly at the camera or the person, whatever it's looking at, and the eyebrows up a fair bit. I'll open the mouth. And that is that. Oh, I've got to draw the bottom of the lip on these guys. So just making sure that they look fairly consistent. I'll hide my line work. I want to even up the eyes so he doesn't look too far off. And I'll compare it to my other two so they feel like the same character. That's good. Next, we have angry. So this is fun. I always love doing angry. So angry is where things start to overlap a bit. So the eyebrows are going to be coming down and really pushing the face in together, right? Really being pulled in. And rather than doing a teeth angry, because we've done teeth, we'll have his mouth open as if he's yelling. Okay, so we open the mouth up. And we draw the rest of the eyes. Oops. And I'm going to add a little bit of that bottom eyelid. Drawing in the bottom eyelid covering the eye is kind of like scrunching the cheek up, but we'll go into the area of effect stuff later. So it's always good when you're drawing angry to have them looking up as if they're like looking through their eyebrows, right? So whether it's looking directly at the camera or off to the side, have them looking up and facing down. It really kind of darkens the expression. So that's the cartoony dude. Coming across here to a more realistic dude. So the eyebrows won't be able to go down as extreme as they do in the cartoon version. So the eyes are still, still kind of separate, but here the difference is we lower the top eyelid and open the bottom eyelid and have him look up still. I think the eyebrow needs to be a bit more extreme. So I'll do that, bring it down. And he looks a bit too sleepy. Oops. So I'll open the eye a bit more. I think that's the main difference there. Yeah, I think that did it. So if I hide my construction work, he looks much more angry now with the eye open. Okay, and same thing, whoops, as the other character, we're going to have his mouth open. And he's going to be yelling. Give him a tongue. And bring that over there. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got our first three expressions out of the way. Let's come down here to our next one. We have sad. So sad is similar to angry in a way because everything kind of scrunches together, but the difference is angry scrunches, if I draw direction lines, angry scrunches in like this. Oops. Yeah? Scrunches in, okay? Sad, and I think we're doing sad, yes. Sad scrunches up. So it's kind of like the opposite. And you can even see just by drawing those arrows that they convey that emotion. So sad is we have our eyebrows kind of pulling in and up like that. So it's still scrunched, but it's in a different sort of direction. Okay? And we're really scrunched here. So our bottom eyelid is really pulled up. Let's have him looking off to the side. Okay, and oops. Let's have him pout the bottom lip a bit. There you go. And then over here, similar but not as extreme because we don't want him looking like that or it will be a bit too Mickey Mousey. So we lower the top eyelid when drawing sad on a more realistic face. Oops. As if, because it does give that sort of tired, weary, giving up on life sort of look. So we lower the top eyelid and we have him look off to the side like that dude, like the cartoon dude. Bam. And we'll have him pout his lips, but just not in the same way. So he'll be, oops. Let's just make sure that looks alright by hiding our construction. Yeah, that sort of works. It's a bit cartoony, but oh well. It's comic style, it's kind of halfway between. So next we have our seriously face. Now this is where things get kind of fun because our seriously face, which is our, what was the word that I used before, our skeptical face, is kind of a mix of things. We have eyebrows up and down. We start to really kind of get this asymmetrical sort of look. So we bring our one eyebrow up and one eyebrow down. And in that approach, like I kind of picture it like the way that they're looking, like if I'm looking at you and thinking seriously, that eyebrow is up. Okay, so in the direction that they're looking, and this is just my approach, it doesn't have to be that way, but it's just kind of a directional thing that I do. So if he's looking, let's say over here, this eyebrow will be up and this one will be kind of scrunched in like that. Yeah. Okay, so the bottom eyelid, actually no, top and bottom eyelid are going to be kind of doing their thing. And his eye will be like, oops, he'll be looking at the viewer, I think. Put him on the spot. Kind of want to bring that eyebrow up a bit more. And pretty happy with those eyes. Let me just hide the construction. Okay, I think the eye needs to be a bit more extreme here, so I want to do that. And similar to the eyebrows have kind of this arch like that. I like to kind of do the same thing with the mouth, arch it in the same sort of way. Maybe if I like show the teeth at the end here, show a few of the gums, and open the mouth just a little bit, and cock out the lower jaw, or the lower lip. It's got that sort of seriously look on him. Similar to this guy, but again, we don't go as extreme when we're realistic. It's more about how the lines work with the face in an organic way. So we still want to have the extremeness of the expression just without going overboard. So we have the top eyebrow down a bit, bring in the bottom eyebrow a bit as well. That's a bit too high. And then we're looking up at the viewer like that. I just want to check. Yep, I'm pretty happy with that, how that looks. And then same sort of thing. Let's just show our teeth and then open up the mouth a bit. And if I hide my line work, I'm pretty happy with that. You get that sort of seriously expression. And then our last one over here is our cunning face. So cunning is like a mix of angry and happy, and even our seriously expression. It's weird, but I love it. So cunning, we get a bit of this eyebrow action happening, a bit of the cocking the eyebrows, like that. Probably not so extreme. The difference is over here we get an angle like that. Over here we get more of an inner angle. Okay. And so similar to our seriously expression, our skeptical expression, the eyelids are going to be a bit more closed, but we're going to bring out the bottom one a lot more. Okay. So the bottom one and then the top one a bit less. And then we'll have him looking over here, thinking about his cunning plan. I have a cunning plan, as Greg, my background artist, always says, and I think is a reference to Blackadder. Yes. And let's have him smiling, because, like I said, it's a mix between happy and these expressions. And have his teeth bared, and let's have him licking his teeth. Yeah? Because I think that kind of adds a fun sort of nature to the thing. Like his, I don't know why that's a thing, but it's just like this cliche, I'm an evil person look when they lick their teeth. Don't ask. I don't even know. Maybe I'm just talking crap. So there you go. That's the cartoony dude. And let's go similar with this guy, but just not as extreme. So still, we got the askew eyebrows, but more angled in than on our skeptical expression. We have our really pulled up lower eyelids and slightly closed upper eyelids. He's looking off here to the left. And bring this eye down a bit. I just want to check. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I think this eyebrow should go down a bit more. And then over here on the right, same thing. We have our teeth showing. Let's have our tongue doing a little bit of something as well. There we go. So I'm pretty happy with how this is so far. I've got my expressions, and this is the first step when I draw expressions, are the main communicators. Now, as you can see, they do a heck of a lot, but there is another part. So I'm going to select these and make them all the same black color. So I have two frames here, my early first drawn one, and here I'm going to show you how I will use my area of effect with each expression, how the face will mold with the eyebrows, with the mouth, and all that stuff. Now, the reason I've done it on a 3/4 angle is so you can see how it's affected the side-on view of these parts of the head, whether it be the what do you call that, the brow, or the jaw, or chin, and all that stuff. So you can see with my construction work at the back, I've got kind of a guideline. For the jawline and where the cheekbones and everything goes, right? But we're going to be kind of deviating from that. Now, in the content face, it won't really deviate. It'll pretty much follow spot on because the face isn't really being contorted that much. So we just kind of follow the same sort of lines because everything's pretty much the same. There we go, done. So similar with this. Kind of bring the brow out and follow our lines, and ta-da. So that's done. Too easy, okay? But when we start to get more extreme expressions like happy, the brow is pulled up here, and we start to affect things. So you can see how that the skin scrunches up here. We scrunch the eye right past where the eyelids go, just because you kind of get those crow's feet if they're a bit older, and I think this character doesn't look too young, so I'll give him a little bit of age there. And when we scrunch up the face like this, everything kind of pulls up. So the cheeks pull up. Now it's much more extreme in this cartoony character than it will be on the more realistic character. Okay, but when I draw the smiley face, everything is lifted like that. So on the more realistic character, it's similar, just not as extreme. So we maybe add a couple of lines up here. Oops, might just do that. Add our crow's feet and lift. So see how it just kind of comes up that little bit more than I had before. It's not a huge difference. There we go. So we also want to kind of draw outlining where the bottom of the eyeball is, just to show that the eyelids are lifted. So coming across here to anger. Okay, this is a much more direct version of showing how the area of effect happens. So this is all pulled down, and this is all scrunched in. So everything here is kind of scrunched. Okay, so if you imagine all this skin kind of folding in like that. So you don't want to go too much, just a couple of lines. And the main areas that I focus on are like this bit between the eyebrows and the bit up here on the nose. And if you scrunch your face up like that now, you can feel how the fat and muscles kind of pull up into those bumps. Okay, also kind of draw the face down a bit like that with the, add a bit of a sleepless night line, if that makes sense. Okay, and a little bit under the nose. Okay, now I'm kind of drawing more than I need to on these cartoony figures, more for the purpose of demonstrating what I'm talking about. But cartoons don't generally have too many lines. I'm just kind of demonstrating a point. So this kind of pulls down, following the line work here more because the face isn't pulled up like it is in the happy expression. Because the mouth is open, the jaw is lower. And we add our sleepless line and we scrunch the face in like this. And we bring up that area. Whoop. To show how the face is being pulled around with this expression. Okay, so we've got our first three done. Our last three, so sad. So like with angry, things scrunch up, but it's in a different angle. Okay, so this time we're scrunching up like this, yeah? So I'll start over on this side. So things are pulled down on the sides, but in the middle they're pulled up. Yeah? Bam. And pull under the eye. Whoops, how did that get there? And with this, I want to bring the jaw forward a bit because he's pouting his lips. Everything's kind of got to come forward a bit. Just a little bit, nothing too extreme. So pull the face down, bring the jaw forward a little bit, and adding in our creases for where everything is scrunched up. Oops. There we go, so that's sad. We've got our seriously face. Now, because this is so askew, we follow that sort of angle that we've built. So everything's pulled down on this side and pulled up on this side, okay? So a bit of a scrunch here on the left. And then we follow the jawline that we've set. And because things are being pulled up here so much, we want to have the skin follow that, right? So I'll do it from the nose and just kind of add that line there just to show that there's skin or fat being pulled up here. So same over here on this side, let's just kind of add that line just to show that there's something happening there. Again, we go our angle up here, whoops, just a couple of lines, scrunch here, pull the face down, oops. This is much more of a sort of flat expression. It's like a mix between a blank expression and annoyed. And then our last one is our cunning face. So this is a bit interesting because in a way our angry expression kind of pulls in like this. Our cunning face kind of pulls out, right? But we have a similar sort of look. So we kind of skew things up there on the side. Let's build up here because the cheeks are kind of pulled up in that smile, because it is a mix of those expressions and happy. And similar on our more realistic face, where we're pulled up, oops, on the side, everything's kind of stretched out to the side. I'll show a bit under the eyes, and then we pull in. Oops, I think I'll do that by drawing under their eyes. And yeah, bring up the cheek just because he's smiling. And then we draw the last bit of the jaw. And again, because the face is pulled up on that angle, I'm just going to draw by the side of the nose there. So if I zoom out, I'm going to create a new frame and turn all this black and then hide my construction lines, and you can see how things have come together, right? So we've got our content face, okay? So they're both kind of middle-aged characters. So I've got a middle-aged cartoon and a middle-aged, more realistic sort of dude. So our happy, you can see how the face sort of stretches around those emotions. Angry, everything's kind of pulled in. You can see how in this area here, it's more than just the eyebrows, the eyes, and the mouth. The face has got to contort with the emotion. We've got our cunning, everything's kind of stretched out to the side a bit. Also, where they look has an effect on the conveying of the emotion. Our seriously face, everything's kind of askew. We've got our one side of the face kind of up and the other side kind of blank. And then our sad face, where everything's contorted but in a different sort of way. So that's all we're going to look at today for emotion. I hope it's been of some help, and just to keep in mind those things that we went through, we'll go through them from the beginning, that we have a primary emotional communicators, the eyes, the eyebrows, and the mouth, but we also, with those, affect the rest of the face. And so when we go through and we draw those, and if you tend to look at any characters I draw, I always draw the main things first and then I draw the face around it, because it pulls the face in its expression. So that's it for today. Until the next video tutorial, have a wonderful life. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy my videos. You can download the reference files from this tutorial by clicking the link in the description. And remember to share any art, animation, or game you make on Newgrounds.com. Until next time, see you later.